so this week we're gonna paint. Admittedly, mine has a couple of little smudges on him from when I was picking up my watercolors, they were really wet and it dripped on him. So be careful, okay? So we're gonna start with our seal. And I want you to paint your seal first because I'm gonna have you shade your seal in a little bit, okay? So these are your watercolors. And right here, next to the black, you have a gray. These are brown, we don't wanna use these. So we're gonna use this gray right here, okay? And it looks really dark, but watercolors, you're meant to have water in them. So when I get the water and I get it on my brush, it kind of starts off dark, but when I spread it out, you see how light it gets, okay? So we wanna try to keep our seal all in one kind of value to start with. And we're gonna paint it all kind of a light value like this, okay? And then we'll come back and we'll do some shading in some areas and make it darker, okay? So you're gonna you have a smaller paintbrush and a bigger paintbrush. We're gonna use our smaller paintbrush for this. It's gonna take a little longer, but that way we have control over what we're doing, okay? So go ahead and paint your seal a light value of gray and try to kind of make it consistent throughout, okay? Okay, so here is my light valued seal, okay? So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take just a tiny bit. I'm not getting very much. I'm getting my paintbrush a little bit wet. I'm getting a tiny bit of this black, which is not gonna be an exact black. It's not gonna be a perfect black, okay? And then I'm gonna come through, and if you get just a tiny bit, it'll look like this. If you get a lot of black, it's gonna be too black, okay? So I'm not rubbing it on there, okay? I'm getting a tiny bit of water on my brush, and you see how I'm just pressing it on there for a second? That's all you wanna do. That is enough black to shade because we don't want our seal to be black, right? We want it to be gray, and we're just doing this to shade. Okay, and it's better to go back and need more black than to have too much and have to try to blend it out. So I'm gonna do some black along here, and then I'm gonna do some here and some here, just a tiny bit, okay? Now, mine has this weird little patch right here from where I had that blue underneath. So I'm gonna come back with some of this gray, and I'm gonna do a few more weird little patches on him, and I'm gonna call him patches. You really don't need to do that, but because mine had that, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, now, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly shade our iceberg. So you see these really light blues? You can pick one of these. This one's gonna be really, really light, okay? And this one's gonna be maybe too dark. So I might even take a little bit of this one and bring it over here and mix them so it's a little bit darker. And first, I'm gonna put a little shadow underneath where my seal is laying on the iceberg. So that's like a shadow that the seal is creating on the iceberg. And then I'm gonna paint kind of around the edges, a little bit of a shadow here. We're just adding a little bit of value to our iceberg. And then we add a little bit here, along the edges here. Okay? But we don't want it to be dark because our ocean is going to be dark. All right. Now I'm gonna paint my ocean, and I'm gonna switch to my bigger paintbrush for this. And I'm gonna take this blue right here, and I'm gonna paint my whole ocean that color. And this is where, remember we made those white lines last week? This is where some of those lines are going to show up. I'm still being really careful with my paintbrush. I'm not getting into other things. I'm taking my time. But these white lines that we painted or drew the last time should show up at least a little bit. Some of mine, like that one's not showing up super great. So I must not have drawn it very hard. If you don't draw it hard, it's not gonna show up. But some of them are. only have a little bit down here to do. Okay, so paint it all one solid color. I wouldn't go this dark blue. You could use this blue or this blue. Okay, now I'm gonna use this darker blue and this kind of green color over here, and I'm gonna add some depth to our ocean by doing some more kind of just lines in the ocean and letting them overlap and blend. It's gonna be really pretty. So I did this darker blue, and then I'm gonna do this green right here. Just adding some more color to my ocean. Oceans aren't just one color, and that's because the sunlight hits them. Okay, now you can paint your hat however you want to, and you can paint your sky however you want to, but I'm gonna give you a couple of little pointers, okay? So let's say I wanna paint my hat orange and yellow. I might take like a light yellow, right? Yellow is kind of a light color. And I might paint this whole section yellow. And then I can rinse my brush and I can take this darker color, which is orange, and I can go on top of the yellow. And you see how that's a little easier than trying to just paint it separately and stay out of the lines. Okay, so this section, I have that weird purple spot, which is not gonna be easy. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do this orange. And then I'm gonna come back with some red, which there's not a really good red. This one's kind of a pinky orangey red. And do these little sections red. Okay? And then I'm gonna show you how I did my background. So those are just some ideas. You can do these whatever colors. If you want a pink hat, that's fine. Okay, I'm not saying you have to do it that way. The way I did my background was I did purple and pink, but you can certainly do this with blues or whatever colors you want. You could do a whole rainbow in the background. So I just did sections in different colors, and see those snowflakes are showing up. So I did this purple, and then maybe I did some of this purple, and I'm using my bigger paintbrush for this. And I'm also gonna turn it upside down so I can reach it better. And then I also did some pink. And then occasionally I did some blue too, okay? So where these edges meet, that's okay. They'll kind of blur together as they dry. And then I also did some blues and some sections. Okay, so you could paint it all one color, or you can do what I'm doing and kind of do different colors and let the edges bleed together, okay? So you guys keep working on your seals. I can't wait to see these. I know they're gonna turn out really cute, and I can't wait.